When we launched the Humanity Party, and what we tried to do, of course, is protect the identity of certain individuals, and me being one of them, because I'm the only known public figure that represents the Humanity Party. Now, I don't want to call them crazy people. I want to call them concerned people. Concerned that we were trying to hijack the anonymous name and the anonymous icon to do something subversive. I mean, there's people out there that thinks that the Illuminati, which does not exist in any way, shape, or form, was behind our movement. That Donald Trump, didn't we hear that someone has said that Donald Trump was behind this movement? We were trying to get people not to vote for Hillary Clinton. No, folks. The whole idea is that there are some very smart and intelligent anonymous people out there who at one time thought that hacking into the websites of governments and people who they wanted to send a message to was useful. It's never been useful. It never works and it never will. So there's a lot of people out there, though, that associate the anonymous icon, the anonymous mask, with social change. That's what we did. We simply, a few anons, including myself, got together and decided that the only thing that we could do to create social change was to do it legally and peacefully, without threatening anyone, and come up with the solutions, the social solutions that the world needs. And guess what? These prideful, egomaniac anons did out there who have their own websites. Folks in the world, you got to think about this for a minute. Think about these, any website out there that uses the anonymous icon. Anon News or Anonymous, We Are Legion, or whatever these guys are. If you really wanted to see who's behind those things, find the actual human being who's behind those movements, who's behind those websites, who produces those things. Because what you'll find are not, you'll find human beings that have no desire to make any change in the world. They just like it that they have thousands of followers that watch their stuff, and that they think that they can breed some sort of a fear into other people to get them to change. Never works, never has, and it never will. You know, and that's the problem. That's the problem that we ran into. And they have deceived all of their followers out there. They've deceived the people that watch their videos, that visit their websites. And what they did was they presented me, little old me, as the culprit behind this. Some anti-Mormon, no, some called me what? An anti-Mormon, anti-Christ, or a Mormon. I'm not anti-Christ, I'm not a Mormon. I have nothing to do with religion. Yes, my personal story is quite eccentric. Oh, what we got? Oh, that just me? Oh, sorry, a little echo. We're gonna pop our production team's still trying to set all this up for the debates, and that's what we're doing. We're giving you a behind the scene look. You know, really, folks, if you saw how we produce these things, you'd start to realize that this is no Illuminati group. This isn't a group of politicians or any subversive, controversial group that's trying to put together the Humanity Party. The fact is, there's a board of directors. There's 7 very incredible human beings, incredible people, who know how to solve the problems, who've studied them for long enough that they know the solutions to the social problems that are out there. And the anons, or the anonymous movement out there, these people who put out these videos, they complain a lot. And yes, they make some good points about the injustice and the inequality and poverty that exists in the world. But they have no solutions. They've never presented one. Every single time they've hacked into a website, a government's website, or a corporation's website, they've done nothing but made those people more upset. And many times they have caused poor, innocent people to suffer because of their hacking. Hacktivists do not work, they never will. So we tried to give you folks out there who claim to be the anonymous people, to have the mask on, to put it on, to try to create fear in other people and to demand social change. We tried to give you an opportunity to get behind something with good, solid, intelligent solutions that will work. And look what you did. Look what you fools did. It's not, many of you Many of you out there who have turned against us, who have put out these videos about me personally, about other things, that are full of lies and deceptions and misconceptions about what we're all about. Okay, of course, someone had to be behind, well, let's just talk about the little anonymous character, the voice of Anonymous that we want to present. You guys remember this? You guys remember this? This mask and the gloves? Someone had to put this mask on, and it wasn't always me. And the gloves, you remember the gloves that we put on? Of course, you know, I could put them on now. I could put the mask on. I could put the gloves on. I could put the whole outfit on. Okay, what were we trying to accomplish with that? Were we some Illuminati? Look at this. Let me show you guys something. Let me show you this. Let's get it so you can see. Let me show you this emblem that we created. We created this outfit to give you people something to believe in. Why? Because most of you out there, many of you Anons out there, don't you like Comic-Con? Don't you like having a superhero to whom you could look to for some kind of a change? Okay, see this little emblem right here that we developed? What that is, behind the V, there's a circle there with an A in it and then a V over it. That circle with the A is basically the anarchist symbol. The V means victory over anarchy. These have nothing to do with Masonic symbolism or any kind of radical Illuminati anything. That's all it means, is that the Humanity Party and this particular character that we developed was all about giving the people some icon to believe in. Anarchy does not work, and it never has, and it never will, folks. It just simply will not work. It never has in history. Every time there's been a movement, let me have his wig, too, so I can explain what that is. I'm going to explain to you why the white wig was used, so that you understand that part of it. Most of the founding fathers of the United States of America, most of those who authored the original U.S. Constitution were Masons. They believed in all this crazy, weird stuff that the Masons believe in. And if you want to understand them better, then get to know them. Oh, that's okay. You don't have to go get that wig at all. I'll explain why there was a white wig. It's as easy to explain as this. Go into most European and even African cultures now, today, modern cultures, and look at the lawyers and the judges. What do they wear? They wear a white wig. That's not who they are. They wear the white wig, which represents a certain form. It's a religious connotation, a Christian religious connotation. It comes from the Christian Bible, where it talks about this guy in white, this guy with white hair and a white beard saving the world. Okay, so there's this implication that somebody with white hair has a lot of authority and knowledge. So we simply use that symbolism and put the person in white hair. That's what these people still use in some of the common courts in Europe. They put on those wigs. That's right. Okay? That's what they put on. They put those wigs on to represent authority to the people. All we were trying to do is develop a character that you people out there who want social change could get behind. But instead, you created all this bogus information, countered it with deception, countered it with lies, and turned it into something that now nobody wants to even follow. Nobody wants to look at the Humanity Party.
Well, the nice thing is now you see how conspiracy theories are started.
Awesome. Okay, Mike, you need to get Mike so we can see. Is there any way he can? Because can you guys hear Tony?
Yeah,
when he talks? Tony's our producer, and he mentioned that the best thing about this and what we did, we actually proved to the world how conspiracy theories get started. Why there's a ridiculous amount of people out there thinking, oh, this has got to be something because the Humanity Party is for a world order. Here's that white wig. Okay, so all it represents, I'd put it on, but I'd mess up my cool hairdo that I need for the debate. But it represents exactly what the white wigs represent that the founding fathers wore, that the judges and the attorneys of other countries wear, to represent law and justice. Folks, really, with the backlash that we got from some of the anonymous followers out there, the anonymous movement, that is ridiculous. Shame on you guys. Shame on you for not looking at the solutions that we have for the world. Because you guys have nothing. Okay, and it is true that some of the real people who can actually hack into a computer system, they joined us. They stopped that. Because why? Because we were threatened by these so-called anons, this anonymous movement out there. We were threatened that they were going to take down our website. They never did. Listen up, man. You want a politician? You're going to see in the debates today, you're going to see your politicians. You're going to see what human beings do to try to make themselves representable as politicians. You're going to see Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, two different types of people, both with their own agendas, both with messages that they think are good, which they do. Here's another conspiracy theory. The theory that government entities and politicians are bad people. They are not bad people. They're simply human beings who want to make a change and understand that in order to keep anarchy from overrunning the world and causing all kinds of problems, there needs to be law and order. And the law and order comes from a good government. Our problems are not the politicians, because politicians, being the good people that they are, they simply do not know what to do. They understand what you want to hear, and that's what they tell you. They tell you that they're going to make all these changes. A perfect example during this presidential election was Bernie Sanders. Here was a different type of person, a guy that didn't seem like a politician, but he was through and through. He'd been in the Senate for who knows how many years. And Mr. Sanders lied to the people. He said things to the people that just were not true. He made them promises that he knew, even if he got into the White House, he could never fulfill. That's the problem with Americans. That's a problem with the people in the world. They do not know how politics happen or how the country is ran. They do not understand that no president of the United States has the power to legislate. A president has no ability to create a law. Impossible. He has certain powers that have to do with the way the United States deals with treaties and other things with other powers in the world. But he does not legislate. That means he does not come up with laws. He can't tell anyone, he cannot send a mandate down that says, okay, now we're going to change all the stop signs from red to pink. The president cannot do that. Only Congress can. That's where people don't understand. They don't understand how the Constitution was set up, why it was set up, and how it works. The fact is, folks, what you're so upset about, the government that you're so upset about, it is your problem. That government exists because of you. And many of you out there who are so-called patriots who love this Constitution, these politicians follow that Constitution. That's why there are lawyers. That's why there's a Supreme Court. That's why there's different checks and balances. The checks and balances are about the politicians abiding by the rule of law established by the Constitution of the United States, the interpretation thereof. Because every time there's a law that's presented to the people that controls our lives, it's because the Congress has debated it and they've put it forth. It's up to the Supreme Court to determine whether that's constitutional or not. If it's not constitutional, or if it doesn't comply with the Constitution that exists, then of course they can override that law and get rid of it. President's powers aren't what the candidates say that they are. They are powerless in many ways. It doesn't matter who gets in there this next election. What matters is who's in the Congress, who are the senators especially. And you know what's wrong with our country? What's wrong with our country is we're not united. We call ourselves the United States of America. That is the most ridiculously hypocritical statement that could exist. Because the states in the United States are not united. They have caused all of our problems. States' rights have caused all of our problems. Simple to understand. And the Humanity Party puts this forth very, very eloquently, and you people don't pay attention. Why? You know what? We understand why. Because you have to get up in the morning, you have to go to work, you have to take care of your family, and you have to abide by the rule of law that the government establishes for you. And you can see the problems that are happening in this world because of it. Those problems are not coming from your politicians. Your politicians, using their advisors and their lawyers, again, are abiding by the United States Constitution, which is one of the most flawed documents that exists in government today. It is the reason why there's so much corruption in government, because that Constitution allows that corruption. And we have actually empowered and emboldened 100 people to basically control every aspect of our lives, and those are the senators. Some senators who have been there, tenured in there time and time again. They keep this perpetual government corruption, as you see it, in place. But it's not corrupt. They legally abide by the rule of law that your Constitution, the United States Constitution, has established. So what's the Humanity Party's premise? It's simple. If you want the same old, which you're always going to get, which will result in the same problems that you've been experiencing for years and years, and you'll continue to experience, then you just keep that same Constitution. That Constitution is old. It needs to be revised. It needs to be completely revised. We have done that. The Humanity Party has presented a proposed Constitution that eliminates corruption, that puts the control of the courts back in the hands of the people. Do you know how hard it is to get justice in these courts without money? You know that. We're paying attorneys $200 to $1,500 an hour, sometimes more. Wow, who did that? The people lost control of the courts. We've lost control of our judges, of the attorneys that are supposed to be officers of the courts that are there to help us. Our constitutional proposals takes care of all that. But the main thing that the Humanity Party is about is it includes in a constitution, making it a law, that human beings come first, that their rights, their right to life, which means that they need to live. And if they're born into this world, they need the right to the basic necessities of life, free of charge. They shouldn't have to struggle every day for those things. And what has happened in this world? We got people out there, we got the capitalists, we got you people out there to say, oh, we don't want to give anybody welfare, we don't want socialism. People should have to work for their money. Really? You want to see people who work harder than any American out there? You got to go look at how our dear friends, the humans that come across the south border in the United States, the migrant workers come and go into those fields and pick our food. They work harder than any other human being out there. They should be compensated and taken care of better than anybody else. Because all this rhetoric that people have and all these problems that they think is happening because someone wants better social programs is because people don't stop and think. They don't understand what happened in this world. It is impossible for a human being to go out on this planet Earth, stake a claim in this earth, and say, I'm going to provide myself and my family with food to eat, clean water to drink. Impossible. All the land is owned and it's all controlled. How does a human being do that? There is no way that anyone can take care of themselves and provide themselves with basic necessities of life unless they become a slave. That's right, folks. It's all about slavery. It's all about you being forced to go to work for a paycheck to make somebody else rich so they don't have to work. That's how it's set up. That's capitalism. But guess what, people? It's your fault. Your fault that it's like that. It's the fault of every single person who gambles and thinks they're going to get rich off gambling, who buys a lottery ticket, who thinks they're going to become wealthy with that lottery ticket. It's your fault of every single one of you who are going to school thinking that you're become wealthy, that you're going to go to school and get a degree and you're going to go out of college and get a great job and you're going to make a lot more than the people that are working in the fields or the people that are working in McDonald's. Okay then, what happens if all the people working in the fields and all the people working at McDonald's disappeared? Or they went on strike and they weren't there? Where are you going to get your egg McMuffin and your coffee in the morning so then go to school and do what? Study and learn and get your degree and go into debt thousands of dollars for what? To become a slave to somebody, folks. The things that we're talking about today, politicians talk about. But you know what their problem is? And this is what we're going to get into as you see our debates, as you see me, the representative of the Humanity Party, take on Clinton and Trump and respond to Lester Holt, the moderator, to the same questions. I haven't reviewed those questions. I have not reviewed them. I come prepared only with the knowledge that I have, being taught by the board of directors of the Humanity Party and understanding what I do about world affairs, domestic and foreign affairs. The Humanity Party has every answer you can think of. So, what is our problem? The problem is you people. Getting behind these politicians who have the experience of politics. They have the experience of politics that don't work. You want the same old politics? Then you just vote in a politician. The same people that have been voted in for centuries, who will do the same things and make no changes that need to happen. If you want somebody with experience, real human experience to represent you, then you get behind the Humanity Party. I'm not saying it's going to be me that represents be a politician. If I put my name into the hat for any political office, the media would come in there and completely crucify me. Why? Because they want to sensationalize who I am, what I've done in my past. When in reality, I'll tell the truth. I'll always tell the truth as a person. But this isn't about me. This isn't about Christopher. This is about the Humanity Party. This is about a group of people that needed a spokesperson, and that is who I am. A spokesperson who has more experience than Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump put together by 54 years. I have the experience of going up against corrupt judges. I have the experience of being thrown in jail for the most ridiculous thing and being kept in there by a corrupt judge. I have the experience of losing my children to a corrupt legal system because I didn't have the money to buy an attorney to fight the situation. I have the experience of being on food stamps. I have the experience of being lambasted by people who say, no, you don't have a college degree, so you can't have this kind of job. I have the experience of working side by side in the fields with the workers that provide us with the food. I know poverty because I've experienced, I was raised in virtual poverty. I have experience that politicians do not have. And when I say I'm talking about the Humanity Party, if I could take it away from me, the people that we represent have the experience of life, not the experience of politics. We have the experience of getting up in the morning, being forced to go to a job that we don't like because we cannot survive without it. And then having to go into church, into our communities, and having peer pressure put on us to say, we're not any good because we need help from the government. I mean, I'm just going on it here because we're setting this up to see why it's so important that the Humanity Party exists. I mean, I could sit here all day long and give you every solution to every problem that the world is having. The Humanity Party can do that, folks. You just have to listen. Listen. Problem with you folks out there is there's two problems. Number one, you don't care, and I don't blame you for not caring. You don't care because your life is hopeless. And once your life is hopeless, and there hasn't been any changes that have been made over time, you don't trust people that run for political office, and you shouldn't. But you have to start making a choice in the future. You want the same old, then you go ahead and elect a Republican or a Democrat. And when it comes to the Green Party or the Libertarian Party, that stuff doesn't work, folks. Let me tell you what they're based on. They're based on literally anarchist ideals. They're based on what's called grassroots movements, where they put the power in the hands of local people. So think about that. Think about power in the hands of states' rights. We all know what the war that killed more Americans than all the other wars put together, the Civil War. That wasn't about slavery. That was about states' rights. That was about people standing up and telling the federal government, you're not going to tell us what to do. You're not going to do that. That's what the libertarians are about, the Green Movement. They're about this grassroots movement of putting the power in the hands of local people. Really? If I'm a gay man living in Salt Lake City, Utah, the bastion of Mormonism, and they think that all gays are going to hell, you want me to feel secure with the local people coming up with the laws to run my life? Really? You want me, if I'm a migrant worker working in the fields of California or whatever fields there are, because Americans don't want those type of jobs, and I don't have any job in Mexico. I have to come across the border, sneak, put my life in jeopardy so that I can have a job that provides for my family, and you want me to trust the local people that just want me there to pick their food and then want me to get kicked out of their country? You cannot have a grassroots movement and put the government back in the hands of local people like the Green Party and the Libertarian parties want. That is not how it works, folks. You must have a good, strong government. States' rights cannot exist Ooh, that's a tough one. Is it so tough to understand that there's 40 million, more than 40 million, over 50 million Californians? They have 2 senators that represent their needs and their wants. 2. Where the other states surrounding them that are much more conservative don't even have close to that many citizens, actual human beings living in the states of Utah, Nevada, Colorado, Idaho, some of these more conservative states. Really? Really, folks? That's fair? You let those 6 senators have power over your 2 senators talking to the people of California? Do you? Really? Let me take an issue so you understand how wise the board of directors are of the Humanity Party, how we have the solutions, how you people out there, you Americans, you people all across the world are so deceived by the media. The media is the problem. Mr. Trump had it right. The media will sensationalize any little tidbit of information. Just like when we launched the Humanity Party and we sent out a press release that the Humanity Party was with Anonymous, because we are. And then they started hearing from all these quote-unquote anonymous people. And then the media turned against and said, oh, they're not really anonymous.
Various mainstream media news outlets are reporting that Anonymous has announced that they're going to start a new political party called the Humanity Party, or THUMP. And what we're calling out is just total BS on this story right now. Yahoo News, an enormous outlet for news. A lot of people look at Yahoo News. They ran a story today, which many other media outlets then picked up as truth. And here's what we're calling out right now. This group, calling itself THUMP and claiming to be an outgrowth of Anonymous, having gotten together and voted on the fact that they're no longer going to put out videos with the robotic voice that we associate with the Anonymous videos. It's only going to be this one voice of this one character who decides to put on a costume that looks almost like he's in the KKK, and he has some sort of Masonic symbols on it. He's got these creepy clown gloves and some sort of ABBA wig on, and so suddenly he's going to be the voice of Anonymous. And they're going to start a political party which wants to include the 1%. Right? This sounds like Anonymous to me, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, the ridiculous thing about this, I saw the headline, I saw it on Yahoo News and went, oh, well, this is interesting. What's Anonymous up to? A political party. That could be interesting. Things could happen here.
Oh, yeah. We're the ones with the solution. Everybody else out there are the lawless anarchists that could create conspiracy theories that confuse people. Now we have the evidence of how they created that conspiracy theory.
But my question to you then is, who is this? And what is their motivation? I mean, seriously, they did pull the wool over Yahoo's eyes.
Well, I do have some thoughts
in his
about
basement. Sorry.
Yeah, it is possible. It is possible. It's some farmer in Indiana somewhere. I'm trying to locate his accent. You know, he has a particular accent there. But there's some money put into this and some work put into this, and it's very curious. And I do have a theory about what is behind this. It just so happens, let me read you what he goes on to say. He says this: because of the desire of the 99% to also become wealthy, the people of Earth are justifying supporting current governments that are set up and established to cater more to the needs of the 1% than to the needs of the majority. This is not the government's fault. This is the fault of the people who elect and support their governments. Now, it's the people's fault.
That's antithetical to their whole point.
Yes.
It's about emancipation. It's about empowerment of the grassroots. Is what their message is. They have many messages, but it's not to say, well, actually, it's your fault for putting them in power in the first place. Don't be tough on those 1%ers. They deserve a break.
You want to hear the voice of Anonymous? You want to hear the voice of Anonymous that represents the Humanity Party talk? Go ahead.
Here's the voice of Anonymous. If you want me to speak in this voice, do you want me to tell people how... Hold on a minute, we need to get it right.
On this one, but not on that one.
Oh, well, you know what? It's okay. Hold on 1 second, folks. Let's try it. We don't want to mess it up.
Or no.
No, we can't. You know what? I can't. Look, I was mostly the voice of Anonymous. You know...
We can't do it exactly on this Facebook live streaming, but the videos that were put out, the script of all the videos was written by the board of directors. The voice is my voice. Mask is the voice of Anonymous, for the most part. There were others who dressed up in the Anonymous costume and who gave some voice of Anonymous, but mostly it was my voice, and now it's unmasked. I'm a real human being with more experience than every single member of Congress combined. You find a member of Congress has been in jail for a year because a corrupt judge who had a religious bias put me there. You go ahead. You find a member of Congress or the Senate who lost his kids to a bogus district judge who went on to become a federal judge who wouldn't listen to him because he didn't have any money, didn't have an attorney, took his 2 kids away from him, had him adopted to another guy, and I warned him back there, you do that, it's going to come back and bite you. And what did it do? It come back and bit him hard, because now those 2 kids that were adopted away from me, that don't even have my real name, are back in my life knowing that their father actually was the one they should have stayed with the whole time. But the court didn't see that. Why? Because I didn't have the money to buy the legal system. Again, folks, we got to take the courts back. We got to take the government back. You cannot do it with anarchy. You cannot do it with violence and threats. You cannot. You do it the way that it's been set up to be done. And there is a way. Very simple. Let's get some of you politicians out there. You have those of you who want to be politicians. You study our platform. You study what we know. You study our Constitution. And then you'll know what platform, how to debate these people. First, you got to have the advisors that I have that can give you the information, that know what's going on. Because the fact is, it doesn't matter who's in the White House. It doesn't matter if Hillary's in there or Trump, Bush, anybody. The degree of their efficacy, their ability to be a good president, depends upon the information and the intelligence that they get from outside people, from the CIA, from the National Security Advisor, from the people that they put in their cabinet. That's where they get their information. You think Barack Obama is that smart? He's a classy dude. People like him because he's got class. Yeah, I don't have class that he does. Don't have that class. I'm a real person that's never been an attorney. I don't even have a college education, but it doesn't matter. If someone like me were to be placed in the White House, they would have access to the Humanity Party's board of directors that can solve any single problem that exists in this world. For example, all this stuff that's happening over in Syria, this terrible situation that's happening in Syria, how do we solve it? Well, the United States caused it, folks, because I'm going to give you a scenario in the United States. It's a parallel it's a hypothetical situation, but it's a parallel to what happened in Syria. Okay? Texas. Let's just hypothetically suppose that the state of Texas is like Syria. In fact, I don't know, Texas might be bigger than Syria. I don't know. Landmass, people-wise. Let's say that the state of Texas did this. They had a problem with the way the federal government was running things. And they became rebels. They stand up to the federal government and say, you know what, we don't like what you're doing. And let's say the French, who don't like Americans anyway, but pretend that they do. Let's say the French get behind the Texans and they tell the Texans, we support you. Now you're being rebellious against the federal government who's trying to take away your state's rights and has made it hard for you to do certain things like secure your border, because you guys all got guns and you know, as Texans, you can take care of that border. You can put hands in the patriots and get down there and shoot all those poor people trying to come over and pick your food. But anyways, so Texas rebels against the United States. Okay, Syria, let's divide it up in states. There was a certain faction of people that got sick and tired of the federal government, the Syrian government ran by the Syrian president. So they got pissed off. So guess what happened over there in Syria? Well, let's go to our hypothetical of Texas. Texas go to France, we need arms. We need arms. We need guns and weapons and advisors so we can take on the United States government and free ourselves from that regime called the federal government of the United States. So France says, all right, we'll help you out. So they ship into Texas all of these weapons. What do you think the federal government and the army is going to do? as they tell Texas, you're not seceding from the Union. You're not. You're not. Well, the United States government would do exactly what the Syrian government did and come in and fight the rebels because they're lawless. They're not going to law, whether the laws are flawed or not. Anarchy. Anarchy, folks. Where there was a government set up in Syria and a few rebels, no matter what their number, said, we don't like the federal government. We don't like the state government. We're going to overthrow them. And now America is backing us. Yeah, the CIA and many of the way that the arms got in there, trying to overthrow President Assad. The United States caused that. And Russia and China said, wait. It's like Russia and China coming to the aid of the United States federal government when Texas tried to secede, and France gets behind Texas. China and Russia say, no, we're on the United States side. You guys are lawless anarchists, and you shouldn't be doing it that way. And we're upset at you, at the French people, for shipping arms into you. The United States of America has caused these problems over there. They are directly responsible. The way that they have armed the rebels, the anarchists, the ones who didn't want to do it the right way, United States supported that revolution, supported that war. But if you really look at the facts, you'll find, yes, the people of Syria had cause to complain, just like the people of Texas and the people of America do. Abject poverty and inequality exist in that country, just like it exists here and everywhere in the world. But you cannot do it the way that the United States tried to get the rebel peoples to do. They messed up that country. The United States government and the way that they acted to Saddam Hussein in Iraq messed up that part of the world. They didn't need to do it that way. So, how would the Humanity Party have done it? We're going to tell you how the Humanity Party would have done it, and very, very few lives would have been lost. Very peaceful. Let's go back to our hypothetical. The state of Texas decides to secede from the Union. They want to do their own thing. The United States says you just can't do that because we really protect your border. Everything is all the roads, interstates are going into your country. Even your basketball teams are part of the National Basketball Association, the NBA, and your baseball teams. We're all in this together. We're not going to let you succeed. But we're certainly not, because the majority of you, well, not the majority, all you gun-toting Texas out there, you guys want to succeed from the Union. All right, we're not going to let you, but you can do what you want. And here's what we're going to do. We're not buying your oil. We're not allowing any shipments from any state. We're going to go get together as Congress and say, we are going to isolate Texas and not allow any other state in the Union to have any business association with them. We're going to cut out all of the federal funding. We're not going to give them any funding for their schools. We're not going to give them any help at all. And we're going to tell the people of Texas, if you guys want to move from that state, no problem. There's plenty of room in Oklahoma, Montana, Utah, wherever you want to go in the United States, just move if you don't want to be part of that regime, because we're done supporting them. We're going to let them do what they want to do. Go ahead, do what you got to do, but we're not going to use the federal government to help them in any way. How long do you think Texans would get behind their government and their rebels, their anarchists, to succeed from the Union? We would have ended it peacefully. It could have been ended peacefully. How could it have been ended peacefully over in the Middle East? The United States and other countries could have opened up their borders more and told the people, we want to help you. We understand poverty. We understand that there's problems over there. So we want to be able to provide opportunities for the young men who grow up and start dating girls and start thinking about a family who have no opportunities over there. So what do? They go to a mosque, or they go to other people, and they listen to the rhetoric that the United States has caused all of our problems. And in reality, they got some pretty good points there. That what do we have over here? What do we have in the Middle East? What can we do? All there is oil, and we can't go out and dig a well, an oil well, and get oil out of the ground for our families. We can't take care of our family that way. We're completely dependent upon the governments that exist. We can't even go. All the land that produces food over here in the Middle East is all owned by the government. You see why the people get upset? They have no opportunities. The Western world could have helped those people. Number one, by increasing the number of people, allowing people to come to America like we have for 100 years, hundreds of years, that we did in the beginning. We take the refuse of humanity, as people would put it, allow them to come to America and set them up and help them, give them all the social things, everything that they need to live. That is a peaceful solution. But that's not what you Americans want. That's not what people want. You know what you want? You know what you like? You like your conspiratorialist theories, the bullshit that keeps people in fear, that keeps them ignorant. You like politicians because they look good. They wear suits and ties, and they get up there and they practice their debates. We're about to have humanity, the Humanity Party, me as their representative. You want to know how these problems can be solved? You want to know how a representative from the Humanity Party would respond in the same type of debate situation if given the chance? And that's the point. Would we ever be given the chance? The media doesn't care about the Humanity Party. Why? Because there is no sensationalism here. We're not anarchists. We want to exist by the law. And the media is paid by corporations. They are paid money, advertising money. That's how they get it, to produce and put out things that their advertisers want people to hear. And it certainly isn't what the Humanity Party advocates. Do you think any media outlet in this world is going to put a political representative on the air that says the first thing we got to do is get rid of the United States Constitution and completely rewrite it so that it's reflective of today, that it addresses the problems of today, not the problems of 250 years ago? So that's what you guys are going to see today. Obviously, I went on my little rant, but I did what I did. And the few people out there who are watching it, I hope you enjoyed that part. Now we're going to get into the debates. We're going to set this up here, and our little production team that we have, you're going to see how we do it. We don't have lots of money. We don't take donations, and we never will. These people that work, that are producers, would do this for free. What I do, so that those people out there know, so we have a complete transparency, I'm the CEO of a company. Fairly, I deserve every penny that I'm getting paid. And with that, I have the income that I can pay these people so they don't starve while they're putting out this great stuff. That's it. We will never take donations, and no politician ever should. Thank you.